were looking for various things, including digital devices that may contain material potentially linking Celeste to the property. TMZ reporting that LAPD detectives left with a computer and several evidence bags. An LAPD spokesperson telling people several items of evidence were recovered and will be analyzed by detectives in the coming days. Investigators are following up on several leads. E! News reporting that law enforcement sources with knowledge of this case.
New footage just dropped, and it's David caught cleaning the shoes of the girl whose body was found in his car trunk. That moment happened the same day I coined the term romantic homicide. I think the internet's losing its mind. And guess what? The twist behind this video isn't what you think. In fact, the real motive behind his actions is far more disturbing. Let's break it down. This new, shocking footage of David. Hey, listen up. This isn't your typical scroll past kind of clip. We're talking about a resurfaced video showing David bent over, meticulously cleaning the dead girl's shoes like it's some kind of ritual. Social media feeds exploded instantly. Some called it routine. Others called it downright disturbing. But here's the catch. Nobody knows why this video suddenly reappeared now, or who's behind pushing it back into the spotlight. Every frame feels loaded, every movement deliberate, as if there's a coded message hiding in plain sight. And what's really on everyone's mind is this. The reason this video resurfaced might be dark. Think about how the whole incident unfolded. What started as a routine day for tow yard workers quickly turned into one of the most chilling cases the streets have seen in a while. When they discovered the body of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, everything spiraled out of control. Now, new evidence points to seriously foul play that allegedly began when this girl was just a child. On September 8, 2025, workers at a Hollywood impound lot made a discovery that would flip rising musician David's world upside down. Inside the front trunk of a black 2023 Tesla, registered to David Anthony Burke, known on the streets simply as David, they found the severely decomposed remains of 15-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez. The car had been towed 5 days earlier from the Hollywood Hills after neighbors complained about a foul odor coming from the vehicle. The timing of this discovery is twisted beyond belief. Celeste's 15th birthday was September 7th, literally the day before her body was found. But here's the thing. Given the state of decomposition, word on the street is she never even made it to that birthday. The stench that prompted workers to call the LAPD suggests she'd been dead for quite some time, likely since around when she first went missing back in April 2024. But this case isn't just another missing person story. What's emerging from social media sleuths, family statements, and the police investigation paints a disturbing picture of alleged predatory behavior between David and Celeste that reportedly began when she was only 11 or 12 years old, while he was 16 to 18. That's serious grooming allegations right there. And the most concrete piece of evidence, it's literally written on their skin. No cap. Both the murdered teenager and the up-and-coming singer have identical tattoos on their right index fingers that read SH. Now, sure, matching tattoos might seem like a coincidence. People get them all the time. But when you consider all the other evidence, this detail becomes deeply unsettling. The Los Angeles County Medical Examiner's Office actually confirmed the victim's identity in part because of this distinctive tattoo, making it crucial evidence linking the two. And the connection runs deeper than a Kendrick Lamar verse. Celeste's mother stated that her daughter was dating someone named David when she disappeared. This isn't secondhand gossip or street rumors. It's a direct statement from the victim's own mother, establishing a clear link between Celeste and the man whose car she was found in. Even more damning is the photographic evidence circulating online. Pictures of David in Celeste's neighborhood, just moments before she vanished, not far from her house. This is significant because Celeste lived over an hour away from where David resided. So he wasn't just randomly passing through the area for no reason. Geographic details like this are wild. Celeste was approximately 71 pounds, with wavy black hair, last seen wearing a tube top, black leggings, a yellow metal chain bracelet, and a single
from David and from this whole thing.
And that's big, those ages in particular that you're talking about, because
these specific identifiers, combined with the unique tattoo, help forensic experts confirm her identity after she'd been missing for over a year. As we dig deeper into this case, the connections between David and Celeste become increasingly difficult to dismiss as mere coincidence. The matching tattoos, family testimony, geographic evidence, musical references, and patterns of disappearances all point toward a relationship that allegedly began when she was just a child and he was transitioning into adulthood. But this is only the beginning of what investigators have been uncovering on the streets. The feds moved in, and the music industry got exposed. As the investigation into Celeste Rivas Hernandez's death intensified, law enforcement made moves that would permanently alter David's rise to fame. What their probe uncovered wouldn't just reveal the depth of this alleged relationship. It would also force the entire music industry to confront uncomfortable truths about the red flags they blatantly ignored. On September 18, 2025, the Los Angeles Police Department executed one of the most talked-about search warrants in recent memory. They raided a Hollywood Hills mansion where David had been staying, seizing electronic devices and searching for blood evidence. The location was highly significant. It was just 2 blocks from where the Tesla had been abandoned and later towed. But this wasn't just a standard search and seizure operation. Investigators were specifically hunting for traces of blood throughout the property, using luminol, a chemical you've probably seen on CSI, to detect even minute residues that might have been cleaned away. Luminol reacts with blood, causing it to glow under certain lighting, revealing hidden evidence that's otherwise invisible to the naked eye. Traces of blood, even if it's been cleaned up. The investigators' thoroughness went beyond just the main living areas. They were checking drains, to see if there was any, blood evidence or, blood or tissue that might have ended up in those drains. So, they conducted an exhaustive search of the entire house, looking for any possible evidence. The fact that the body was dismembered and not all parts were recovered adds a particularly grim dimension to their search for blood, tissue, and traces in the drains. The property itself tells its own story about David's lifestyle and his connections within the industry. Although the house was rented by David's manager, Josh Marshall, who is affiliated with Interscope Records, all evidence pointed to David as the primary resident. This estate was renting for $20,000 a month, a sum substantial enough to raise eyebrows. That's not the kind of expense a famous 20-year-old could typically afford on his own. Evidence of David's presence at the property was overwhelming. From all the photos he posted, it's very clear he was staying in this home, if not full-time, then certainly frequently. Moreover, there are photos he shared that were taken specifically from inside that house. He even hosted guests there, such as Benny Blanco and the group Cat's Eye. Currently, investigators are searching for specific evidence that would directly link Celeste to the residence. The absence of such evidence might itself be significant. Indeed, one thing we have not seen is any video footage or photographs of Celeste inside that house, either because no such evidence exists or because it was deliberately removed. However, investigators did uncover other forms of digital evidence connecting the two. Photos have surfaced showing what appears to be a clear relationship between David and Celeste, including a live stream in which they interacted with some of his fans. According to reports, at one point during the live stream, David instructed the chat moderators to ensure that once the broadcast ended, it shouldn't be left up online. This suggests he was acutely aware of the potential consequences of their public interactions becoming permanent records. There's also a photo of David and Celeste together at what appears to be an event in Los Angeles in October 2023. The timing of this photo is especially disturbing. She had just turned 13, while he would have been 17 or 18. As the investigation gains momentum, the music industry has begun distancing itself from David faster than you can say damn.
As well is, the missing flyer stated that Celeste was wearing these Hello Kitty pants the last time she was seen.
The professional fallout has been swift and comprehensive. David's upcoming world tour, spanning North America and Europe, was entirely canceled, and Interscope Records suspended the release of his album. Major brands have also severed ties. He was dropped from Crocs and Hollister advertising campaigns. Kiss FM removed their collaborative track, and Fortnite renamed his emote to avoid any association. Perhaps most telling of all, The Grammy Museum scrubbed David from a scheduled appearance, and even merchandise tied to his more disturbing content was pulled from circulation, including the bloody shirts and blood-stained clothing that were part of his stage persona and featured in some of his music videos. Yet there's a deeply twisted irony in how the public has responded to this case. While David and his legal team have remained silent, a legally prudent move, it stands in stark contrast to the mounting evidence and growing public outrage. As more details emerge and the investigation progresses, maintaining that silence may become increasingly difficult. Whatever the final outcome of this case, it has already changed lives forever. Celeste's family will never get their daughter back. David's career appears finished, regardless of any legal verdict, and the entire industry has been forced to confront uncomfortable questions about the content it promotes and the artists it elevates. The implications reach far beyond this immediate tragedy. The speed with which the public pieced together this timeline, fueled by social media sleuthing, is frankly astonishing. It underscores just how accessible information is in the digital age and how rapidly public opinion can shift. While these online communities demonstrate incredible capacity for mobilization, they also raise serious ethical concerns about amateur investigations, the spread of misinformation, and the impact of speculation on a grieving family. Consider this. Celeste's mother is now forced not only to endure the unimaginable grief of losing her child, but also to navigate the relentless scrutiny of millions of anonymous individuals online, each with their own theories and judgments. This digital microscope is undoubtedly amplifying her trauma, making it exponentially harder for her to find solace or support. The surge in streaming numbers for romantic homicide is a particularly unsettling manifestation of this complex phenomenon, a macabre feedback loop in which tragedy is commodified. A song once viewed as artistic expression is now inextricably tied to a real-life horror. This highlights the dark side of viral culture, where sensationalism often overshadows sensitivity, and where human suffering can be exploited for clicks and views. It's a painful reminder of the desensitization pervasive in our society, how easily we become numb to the pain of others. Imagine being part of Celeste's family, knowing that your daughter's memory is being used to boost the popularity of a song that now carries an even darker, more sinister meaning. Let's delve deeper into the specifics of the leaked Celeste demo. The detail, the specificity of the lyrics, the references to tattoos, the obsessive descriptions, all point to a disturbing level of intimacy and fixation. The fact that these lyrical elements mirror details found in photos and videos David shared online further reinforces the narrative of a deliberate, calculated relationship. Even the Hello Kitty motif, seemingly innocent on the surface, takes on a sinister undertone when linked to the sandals Celeste was last seen wearing. It transforms a symbol of childhood innocence into a chilling reminder of her final moments. This is a case in which seemingly insignificant details coalesce to form a disturbing portrait of a relationship built on obsession and control. The timing, as previously noted, is profoundly significant. The release date of Romantic Homicide, September 7th.
From David and from this whole thing.
And that's big. Those ages in particular that you're talking about, because
is a detail that cannot be dismissed as mere coincidence. Whether this was intentional on David's part, a deliberate act of remembrance, or a twisted form of celebration, remains unclear. Yet the fact remains that what once appeared to be a random date now carries deeply unsettling implications. Investigators are almost certainly scrutinizing this detail with meticulous care, searching for any possible connection or explanation. The legal ramifications of this case are equally complex. While David's silence may currently serve as legal defense, it also entails significant risks. The longer he remains silent, the more likely he is to be perceived as guilty. Although the burden of proof rests with the prosecution, David's refusal to cooperate with investigators could be interpreted as an implicit admission of guilt. Moreover, potential charges extend far beyond the immediate circumstances surrounding Celeste's death. Allegations of inappropriate relationships with minors, evidence of digital communications, and the possibility of witness testimony all point toward a pattern of predatory behavior. The central question remains, what drove David to create this world, a self-contained ecosystem in which he could exert such control over Celeste? Was it a craving for fame, a need for validation, or a deeper, more disturbing psychological compulsion? The answers may never be fully known, yet they are essential to understanding his motivations, examining his artistic process, the influences that shaped his music, and the people who surrounded him could yield valuable insights into his psyche and the factors that contributed to his actions. Looking ahead, this case will likely trigger renewed scrutiny of the music industry's practices concerning young artists. How are young musicians protected from exploitation? What safeguards exist to ensure their well-being and shield them from predatory individuals? Undoubtedly, this tragedy will prompt a re-evaluation of industry standards and a stronger emphasis on protecting the vulnerable. It is a painful lesson, but one that might help prevent similar tragedies in the future. The leaked audio of Celeste's demo also serves as a stark warning about the dangers of digital communication and the critical importance of online safety. Young people must be educated about the risks of sharing personal information online and the necessity of safeguarding their privacy. Parents, too, must remain vigilant in monitoring their children's online activity and fostering open dialogue about the perils of the digital world. This responsibility extends beyond the music industry, encompassing society as a whole. David's silence, once a strategic advantage, is rapidly becoming a liability. The accumulation of circumstantial evidence, mounting public pressure, and the potential for damning testimony all indicate that his carefully constructed facade is beginning to crumble. As is often the case, the truth proves far more complex and disturbing than anyone initially imagined. Amid all this noise, the family's quiet suffering is heartbreaking, a testament to their resilience and a tragic reminder of the human cost of this unfolding drama. Celeste's long road to justice has only just begun. The surge in streaming numbers for romantic homicide represents a particularly disturbing facet of this phenomenon, a macabre feedback loop in which tragedy is commodified, and a song once regarded as artistic expression becomes inextricably tied to real-life horror. This underscores the dark side of viral culture, where sensationalism frequently overrides sensitivity, and tragedy is exploited for clicks and views. It is a painful illustration of the desensitization pervasive in our society, how easily we grow numb to the suffering of others. Once again, David's silence, once a calculated tactic, is swiftly turning into a liability. The weight of circumstantial evidence, intensifying public scrutiny, and the looming threat of incriminating testimony all suggest that his meticulously crafted facade is starting to collapse. And as so often happens, the truth reveals itself to be far more intricate and horrifying than anyone could have